someone who has generated a lot of respect historically. Tom Brokaw on the news has some advice for the Hispanic community, chose not to keep it to himself. Here it is.
And a lot of this we don't want to talk about, but the fact is, on the Republican side, a lot of people see the rise of an extraordinary, important new constituency in American politics, Hispanics, who will come here and all be Democrats. Also, I hear when I push people a little harder, I don't know whether I want brown grandbabies. I mean, that's also a part of it. It's the intermarriage that is going on and the cultures that are conflicting with each other. I also happen to believe that the Hispanics should work harder at assimilation. That's one of the things I've been saying for a long time. That they ought not to be just codified in their communities, but make sure that all of their kids are learning to speak English and that they feel comfortable in the communities. And that's going to take outreach on both sides, frankly.
Wow. So I think what happened is someone put together a list of all the things you're not supposed to say and then accidentally put it in the teleprompter, because he really went through a bunch of stuff all in quick succession.
This is terrible. You know what? A lot of people feel like, there are 1,000 bad things that we could just say that bad people feel. They don't need to be pointed out on the news. Like, oh, there's people in the Klan, let's talk about that. Like, no, who cares? So it doesn't matter that a lot of people have told you they don't want brown grandchildren. That's a horrible thing to say. It's unfortunate for you if you believe that, but like, just the fact that he even gave that, he dignified that, like as if that's something that's okay. A lot of people feel like they don't want brown, and he called it intermarriage. It's just marriage these days because it is no longer illegal to marry someone who doesn't look just like you. It's just marriage, that's fine. And then he said, I personally feel like Hispanics should assimilate better. Here's the thing. There is no rule that when you live in this country, you have to act like a middle-aged rich white man. That there's just no rule that you have to serve green bean casserole at Thanksgiving. There's just no rule. And so why?
If you're gonna leave off one dish, leave that off, really.
Just saying. But so assimilate, it's like, what did somebody call it? White nationalist talking points? Because that is exactly what it is. Assimilate, you shouldn't be able to. That's the whole point of this country. Like if that's the rule, then we would all be following Native American culture because it was stolen, and then so now you're gonna like.
Well, we didn't assimilate when the first people came over. They chose not to assimilate, and that's been a mistake ever since.
And that's been a mistake ever since. But that's just ridiculous. Like this, so. Latin Americans shouldn't be able to speak Spanish if they want to. Absolutely, because this is America, and we keep getting it twisted what this country is and what this country is supposed to be. Like this country is supposed to be a whole bunch of people who don't look alike, who don't speak the same languages, and who all get along and learn from each other and want to be around each other. And your culture is important. People who speak Spanish should be able to proudly speak Spanish, and somebody who is so well respected and has there's so much weight to his name when it comes to journalism, should be embarrassed to go on television and say people should speak English. That is so xenophobic and racist, and it's weird. And it also goes to show just how badly our newsrooms need diversity, because he started back in a day when everybody only looked exactly like him, and we're barely out from that. But it just makes me think over the years, it was a mistake for him to say that out loud, but he very clearly said, these are my feelings. So his work and his news reporting, that has been like a blanket over it this whole time, and maybe we didn't know this whole time.
Well, it's possible if you were to go back, maybe he has said things like this in the past. I honestly don't watch enough
Or maybe
news
it affected like his coverage. You never know, but it's awful. If you speak Spanish and you want to speak Spanish, this is America, you should be able to speak Spanish. Not only that, but we should be teaching Spanish in kindergarten. Because like, why are we the only country in the world who just refuses to teach our kids more than one language? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, especially when it's correlated with a lot of other good outcomes in terms of education.
This was upsetting, and his apology was comical.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna get to that in just a second. I do wanna say, so there was the two sections to what he was saying. He's getting more criticism for the assimilation thing because that is the criticism that he directly attributed to himself. But I also think the stuff that he said earlier, he's not saying he believes it. And so I guess we can't criticize him to the same extent as we do the assimilation stuff, but the way it was expressed, it didn't really feel like he definitely doesn't think that stuff. He's not saying that he believes it.
He felt like it was important enough to say. You know what? There are a lot of people, and that goes to what people feel like in like race issues, people feel like, okay, opposing like people who don't look like this, being able to just live freely, that's okay. We can acknowledge that I mean, that's an honest critique, but it's not, it's ridiculous. Like there are way too many people who still feel like a woman's place is barefoot in the kitchen. But he would not go on national television and say that. He wouldn't say, you know, a lot of people tell me a woman belongs in the kitchen. Like he wouldn't say that, but it's just the same. It's the same sort of thing, and it's ridiculous. But because we're talking about Latin American people, it's okay. Sure, we can criticisms of how they choose to live freely in this country. They're okay. We can point them out because hey, people are saying it. It's a cop out.
Yeah, I've never understood why they have to be barefoot. What year is it?
Barefoot in the kitchen?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
she's in the kitchen. What do you wear? What do you care? She's wearing shoes.
Right.
Anyway, you drop crumbs. It's uncomfortable. So on the criticisms, though, there's the intermarriage thing. They don't know if they want to have brown grandkids. First of all, I mean, take a look at birth rates around the world. If anybody's having kids, you should be happy about it at this point because most people don't want to. I don't care what they look like, what they act like. We need somebody young in the future. So that would be a good thing. Yeah, and the assimilation thing, that sounds like a concept, okay? But it really only means one specific thing. Because there's all sorts of different groups that don't assimilate with everyone else. I mean, you talked about like the wealthy white people. How often are they going out into the community and like they are detached in their own ways from sort of more mainstream American culture, whatever that is, and it's usually divided by region and everything. There's all sorts of communities that are not integrating with other groups. That's America. We are a big, diverse country, geographically, age-wise, racially, religion. Wherever you go, you're gonna find different groups of people. Most of them choose not to really combine with everybody else, but only the newest people get criticized for not doing that.
All these mass shooters, they're not assimilating very well. Why aren't we concerned about that?
Exactly,
you know what I mean?
They're off on their weird 4chan subreddits and stuff like that. I understand those are two different things. I actually go on Reddit a lot. That's not assimilation. So he did respond to these criticisms and says, I feel terrible. A part of my comments on Hispanics offended some members of that proud culture.
Can we pause there though, right there, and how this is such a fake apology? So that is me punching you in the face and saying, I feel terrible that your cheek hurts.
Yeah.
Because
especially because you have such a proud cheek.
Right, that is me saying that, you know, your feelings, I'm sorry that I hurt your feelings. No, regardless of if people who speak Spanish thought that was a cool thing to say, he still shouldn't have said it. It has nothing to do with people taking offense to it. The problem is that he said something that was racist, that was xenophobic, and that was gross.
Well,
and he shouldn't have said it.
I'm glad that he at least says, my comments on Hispanics offended some members rather than if my comments offended. That's worse.
Means the same thing though.
Yeah, from my days reporting on Cesar Chavez to documenting the many contributions of Hispanics in all parts of our culture, I've worked hard. Does he know that they've expanded the character limit on tweets?
I don't.
Anyway, I've worked hard to knock down false stereo space types. In my final comment in Meet, I said all sides have to work harder at finding common ground, which I strongly believe dialogue, not division.
No.
That sounds to me like the Chris Cuomo, Kamala Harris thing. I was saying everybody needs to.
No, but they don't, right? All sides don't. People who want to speak Spanish and are proud of their culture should be able to do that. There is no both sides. The people who are illogically against that, those are the only people who need to work on themselves as humans. That's it, there are no two sides to this.
Yeah.
That is so problematic.
Well, and here's one more problem for him. So, you don't know that you've gone too far when people like us oppose you. I would say, you know you go too far when a certain type of person supports you. That person in this case is Britt Hume, who tweeted, sorry to see Tom Brokaw catching hell for saying Hispanics need to do a better job of assimilating. This proves that any criticism of any non-white ethnic group is automatically considered racist and shows how the national consensus against racism has been weaponized. Shouldn't a consensus against racism be weaponized? Shouldn't you be for?
But like racism has been weaponized. It's literally it's what built our country.
Yeah.
So.
Both weaponized and defensifized, it's being turned into a gigantic wall on the southern border.
And any criticism against Hispanics is automatic. No, anything racist that you say it's okay that it's considered racist. It's the action, not the feeling.
Yeah. Anyway,
hey, Brett, I'm sorry we offended you.
So Tom, thank you for your partial apology. You probably want to make that a little bit stronger and then also apologize for Bert Hume supporting you. That'd probably be a good idea at this point. Thank you very much for watching this clip from The Damage Report. If you liked it, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and ring the bell on YouTube to get notifications of our new videos. And of course, you can catch the full Damage Report live every weekday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific on TYT Network on YouTube TV.